Hi, I'm Nick from nickbro.com. Now in this video we're going to talk about the link between emotions and physical symptoms. So if you're the type of person who's suffering from maybe chronic pain or chronic illnesses, have conditions you have a hard time getting rid of, maybe such as acne or plantar's warts, or suffer from a lot of headaches, then this video is for you because I'm going to tell you exactly how to figure out what emotions you might have going on that might be responsible for your physical conditions. Now I'm going to start with an example of a client. So about a year ago one of my clients came to me and she had been off work for about 2 months due to panic attacks. And I asked her, well, what happened 2 months ago? And she said, well, I was moved into a new role at work. And I said, okay, so tell me about this new role. She said it was a great role, I got a pay raise, a new job, everything was great about it. I said, okay, but what's the one thing about that job that you don't like? What would be the worst thing? And she said, you know what? There's only one small task that I don't like doing, and I talked to my manager about it, but I don't have a choice. I have to do it. And I said, okay, so how does that little task make you feel? And her response was, it makes me feel helpless. And I said, okay, so over the last 5 years, have you experienced any major traumas? And she said, no, not really. She said, the most traumatic thing was probably about 3 years ago, my 4 or 5-year-old son had to have a pacemaker put in. She said, but everything's fine now. He's perfectly healthy. Everything turned out okay. And I said, okay, so if you go back to that time in your life, what picture comes to mind for you? And for her, it was the image of her son being wheeled out of surgery, still unconscious. And I said, how does that image make you feel? And her response again was helpless. So for her, what had happened is the trauma occurred, the fear around the safety of her son, the feelings of helplessness, and then once he was okay, life went back to normal. But she hadn't processed the emotions, mainly helplessness, around that event. So she kind of stuffed it down into her emotional baggage. And 3 years later, when this little bit of helplessness came up in this new job, everything came up, and that's what was causing her panic attacks. So we did one session of tapping, panic attacks were gone, she was ready to go back to work. And while she was with me, she also shared that she had been suffering from fibromyalgia, chronic pain every day for the last 3 years. And she hadn't associated that the chronic pain had started at around the same time of the trauma around her son's surgery. So she came back for 3 more tapping sessions. We cleared out all the helplessness, all the emotions around the incident in the past, and her fibromyalgia, her chronic pain, also went away. So that's one of my favorite examples that really shows how carrying certain emotions like helplessness impact the physical body. Now, if you're suffering from a long-standing, physical issue, try asking that question, right? When in my life did this condition start, and what was going on at that time in my life? So another example is on the first day of a workshop, I had somebody come in who was on the 6th day of a migraine. And we did some tapping work as a group, and we cleared out her migraine. She was okay. And I asked her about her migraine. She said, oh yeah, I've been having them for a while. I take medication for them. The doctors can't seem to know what's causing it or how to get rid of it. And I said, okay, so what was going on in your life? When did they start, and what was going on in your life at the time? And she thought about it. She said, you know what? They started about 5.5 years ago, and that was at about the same time that my husband left our marriage, left me and my kids alone, right? So again, not a coincidence that certain circumstances and certain medical conditions come up at the same time. So again, if you've got a long-standing medical condition, ask that question, when did it start? If it doesn't help, you can look at reference books. There's lots of amazing reference books that point out the link between physical symptoms and emotional root causes. My favorite is Metaphysical Anatomy by Emmett Rose. I think it's got about 700 different medical conditions, and I would say it's at least 90 to 95% on target. So it's a fantastic book. I highly recommend checking that out. And if you have any questions about any of this, if you feel like you need some help, send me a message. We'll set you up for a discovery session. If you feel like others would benefit from this video, share it. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope to hear from you.